He was in my head.
He won't get you.
Then make me forget.
Dangerous game.
I'm done being afraid.
Her bedroom, 2 a.m. Solange wakes gasping from nightmare. Jin Sang already pulling her against his tattooed chest, hand protective over her visible baby bump. He was in my head, she whispers. He won't get you. His lips brush her temple. She turns in his arms, straddling him, despite the pregnancy, fingers tracing his tattoos. Then make me forget. He grips her hips. Solange! She silences him with brutal kiss, pulling back to whisper against his mouth. Your father's watching us right now through those cameras. Let him see who I belong to. His eyes darken. Dangerous game. Her nails rake his shoulders. I'm done being afraid. He flips them carefully, caging her against pillows, one hand sliding up her thigh. If he touches you, our children, then we destroy him first. She arches into him. But tonight, I need you. His forehead touches hers, breathing ragged. You're mine, say it. Yours, always yours. She pulls him down into kiss that's all heat and desperation. They collide like the world's ending. Because it might be. Lovies, can you feel that tension? Between two worlds beyond all borders. This is what we do. We serve tearjerkers, heartbreakers, and game changers. And Honey Part 4 is about to wreck you in ways you can't imagine. Drop a comment right now telling us where you're watching from. Are you with us in New York, Sao Paulo, Seoul, Atlanta, London? Let's see how far this story travels. And if you haven't already, smash that subscribe button because you do not want to miss what happens when a father comes for his grandchildren and true love becomes the deadliest weapon of all. Morning came too bright and too quiet. Jin Sang sat at the breakfast table with Hana and Raphael, watching them eat cereal while his mind replayed last night's security alerts. 3 breaches, 3 attempts to penetrate their compound's defenses between midnight and 4 a.m. His team had neutralized all 3, but the pattern made his skin crawl. Kong was testing them, probing for weaknesses. Hana looked up from her bowl, her dark eyes too knowing for a 9-year-old. Daddy, why do you look sad? I'm not sad, baby. Just tired. Raphael banged his sippy cup on his high chair tray, grinning with 2-year-old obliviousness. Dada, dada! Jin Sang forced a smile, reached over to ruffle his son's hair. At least Raphael was still innocent, still untouched by the nightmare closing in around them. Footsteps on the stairs. Solange appeared in the kitchen doorway, 7 months pregnant and glowing despite the exhaustion he knew she felt. She wore one of his oversized shirts, her natural curls wild around her shoulders, and for a moment he could only stare at her. His wife, the mother of his children, the woman who'd saved him in every way a person could be saved. The woman he was going to leave behind in 6 months when the tumor in his head finally killed him. Morning, she said, moving to kiss the top of Raphael's head before settling into a chair. Her hand automatically went to her belly, that protective gesture he'd memorized. You okay? Fine. The lie tasted like ash. She studied his face with those sharp brown eyes that missed nothing. What happened? Hana was watching them both, her little face creased with worry. Jin Sang forced brightness into his voice. Nothing, baby. We'll talk later. Later was their code for not in front of the children. Solange nodded, but he could see the tension in her shoulders as she reached for the orange juice. I'm going to take a shower, she said after a few minutes of forced normalcy. Hana, can you help your brother finish breakfast? Yeah, Mama. Jin Sang watched Solange leave, heard the water start upstairs. He should have felt relief at a moment to breathe. Instead, dread settled heavier in his chest. Last night's breaches, the pattern. Kong was coming, and Jin Sang was running out of time to protect them. His phone buzzed on the table. Unknown number. He grabbed it before Hana could see, his heart already racing. The message loaded and his world tilted on its axis. Does she know you're dying? Below it, an attachment. He clicked with shaking fingers. Medical records. His medical records. The MRI images showing the tumor wrapped around his brainstem like a parasitic vine. The doctor's notes. Inoperable. Growth accelerating. Prognosis, 4-6 months. Patient has declined to inform family. The headaches he'd been hiding. The nosebleeds he'd blamed on dry air. The dizzy spells he'd passed off as stress. All documented, all exposed. Someone had accessed his private medical files. Someone who wanted Solange to know he was dying. His hands moved on instinct, finger hovering over delete. If he erased it now, she'd never Jin. He froze. Her voice came from directly behind him, still wet from the shower. He turned slowly. Solange stood there dripping water onto the kitchen tile, completely naked except for a towel barely wrapped around her pregnant body. Her caramel skin glistened. Her eyes were locked on his phone screen, reading the medical records over his shoulder. The devastation on her face shattered him. How long? Her voice was barely a whisper. Solange. How long have you known? Hana and Raphael both jumped at her raised voice. Jin Sang stood quickly, moved toward her, but she stepped back, her hand protectively over her belly. 2 months, he admitted. I found out 2 months ago. The slap came so fast he didn't see it coming. Her palm connected with his face hard enough to snap his head sideways. Hana gasped. Raphael started to cry. Then Solange grabbed his shirt and pulled him down into a kiss so fierce, it felt like drowning and breathing at the same time. She kissed him like she was trying to climb inside his soul. Her pregnant body pressed against him, water from her skin soaking through his clothes. When she broke away, tears were streaming down her face. You were going to leave me. Just leave me here with 3 babies and no explanation. I was going to save you. He cupped her face with both hands. Get you away from Kong before you die? She shoved him hard. You selfish bastard. You were going to rob me of every second we have left. Mama, Hana's small voice cut through their anguish. Is the baby okay? They both turned. Their daughter stood in the kitchen doorway, holding Raphael's hand, her young face pale with fear. Seeing her parents like this. Seeing her mother naked and crying, her father defeated. Solange's face transformed instantly. She smiled through her tears, adjusted the towel. Yes, sweet girl. The baby's fine. Everything's fine. Mama and Daddy just need to talk. Can you take Raphael to the living room? Put on his favorite show? Hana hesitated, too smart to believe the lie. But she nodded and led her brother away. The moment they were alone, Jin Sang's phone buzzed again. They both stared at it like it was a venomous snake. He picked it up with dread pooling in his stomach. New message. Same unknown number. Bedroom. Under the mattress. You're welcome. K. Kong. Solange read it over his arm, her wet body pressed against his side. What does that mean? I don't know. But his voice was hollow, because he had a terrible suspicion. They moved together up the stairs, Solange clutching her towel, water still dripping from her hair. Their bedroom looked exactly as they'd left it this morning. Unmade bed, his clothes from yesterday on the chair, her pregnancy pillow taking up half the mattress. Jin Sang lifted the mattress with one arm. Underneath, wrapped in black cloth, was a gun. His gun. Not just any weapon. He knew this gun the way he knew his own heartbeat. Korean military issue. Custom grip. Serial number filed off years ago. The gun Kong had given him when he was 22 years old. The gun Kong had made him use on his first kill, a Russian arms dealer who tried to cheat them. Become a man, Kong had said, pressing it into his hands. Pull the trigger. Prove you're my son. Jin Sang had pulled that trigger, had become a killer that night. And then years later, after he'd escaped Kong's world, he'd melted this gun down himself, watched it turn to slag in a furnace, made sure it could never be used again. But here it was, impossible, real, in his hands. Jin Sang? Solange's voice trembled. What is that? This shouldn't exist. His hands were shaking. I destroyed this gun 15 years ago. Melted it down? It's impossible. Then how? He's been in our bedroom. The words came out flat. Dead. Kong, or someone working for him. They were in our bed. The implication hung between them like poison. Solange's hand went to her mouth. Oh my God, every night, every time we... He couldn't finish, couldn't say out loud that every intimate moment, every time they'd made love in this room thinking they were safe and alone, Kong had been watching, or his people had, recording, observing. Solange started backing away from the bed like it was contaminated. Her towel slipped and she didn't even notice, too focused on the horror of what they'd just realized. Jin Sang wanted to go to her, comfort her, but he was frozen, staring at the gun in his hands. We need to check for cameras, he said, his voice mechanical. Now. They searched like people possessed. Solange threw on clothes while Jin Sang tore apart the bedroom. He found the first camera hidden in the ceiling fan, lens no bigger than a pinhole. The second behind the dresser mirror. The third in the bathroom, angled perfectly to watch the shower where Solange stood naked every morning. He destroyed them all with his bare hands, circuits and glass crunching under his fingers. But it didn't matter. Kong had already seen everything he wanted to see. Solange sat on the edge of the bed, fully dressed now, her arms wrapped around her pregnant belly. How long has he been watching? I don't know. Jin Sang knelt in front of her, put his hands on her knees. Could be days, could be months. He knows about the tumor. Yes. He knows about the pregnancy, about Hana and Raphael, about everything. Yes. She looked at him with eyes full of tears and fury. We're not safe here. We've never been safe. I know. Then what do we... A sound from downstairs. Footsteps, not Hana's light tread or Raphael's toddler stumble. Adult footsteps, calm, measured, coming up the stairs. Jin Sang was on his feet instantly, the gun from under the mattress in his hand, despite knowing it was probably a trap. He positioned himself between Solange and the door. Stay behind me. The footsteps stopped outside their bedroom. A knock, 3 measured taps. Mr. Beck, a woman's voice, familiar. Your father would like you to check the nursery. Now. Elena, Raphael's nanny, the woman they'd hired 6 months ago after extensive background checks. Former pediatric nurse, clean record, references that checked out perfectly. She stood in their doorway, perfectly calm, hands folded in front of her, like she was about to serve tea. What did you do? Jin Sang's voice was death itself. Nothing permanent, Elena smiled. Just delivered a message. They pushed past her, Jin Sang keeping Solange behind him. Raphael's nursery was at the end of the hall. The door stood open. Inside, they could hear their son's mobile playing its gentle lullaby. Jin Sang stepped through the doorway, and his world ended. Every wall was covered in photographs. Him as a child, maybe 5 years old, with a beautiful Korean woman. His mother? He recognized her smile, the way she held him. Photos he'd never seen before. His mother pregnant, his mother in a hospital bed, his mother dead, laid out in a funeral home. More photos, him growing up, 7 years old, 10, 13, teenager, young adult in military uniform. Every stage of his life documented by someone who'd been watching since the beginning. Photos of Solange he'd never seen. Her in Brazil before she came to America. Her in Sao Paulo. Her working at a clinic in Dallas back when she was still illegal, still running from Roberto Mendez's death. Before Jin Sang had found her. Before any of this started. Photos of Hana as a newborn in Jiwoo's arms. Photos of Raphael's birth that should have been private, locked in Jin Sang's safe. Oh, and ultrasound images. Solange's current pregnancy. Images from her most recent appointment 3 days ago. The ones they'd kept private, hadn't even told Hana and Raphael about yet. The baby's profile, the measurements, the due date. All of it on display like a museum to their violated privacy. He called it, but it was the center wall that made Solange's legs give out. A family tree, hand-drawn in meticulous detail. Beautiful calligraphy. At the top, Kong Min-jun. Below him, Baek Jin Sang. Below Jin Sang, 3 names, Hana, Raphael, and a third name, Baby Beck, with a due date written in red ink, March 15th, the exact date Solange's doctor had given them. Across the entire thing, painted in what looked like blood, was one word, legacy. Solange made a sound like a wounded animal. Jin Sang caught her as her knees buckled, held her against him as she stared at the family tree. He says family dinner is at 8 tonight. Elena's voice came from behind them, still that terrible calm. The address is in an envelope on the kitchen counter. Don't be late. Jin Sang turned slowly, still supporting Solange. You're insane if you think I'm bringing my family anywhere near. He says to bring the children. Elena's smile widened. Come armed if you want. It won't matter. He's been inside your life for so long, Mr. Beck. Inside your home. Inside your head. Inside your wife. Her eyes dropped to Solange's pregnant belly. Inside everything you love. I'll kill you. Jin Sang's voice was flat. A promise, not a threat. You won't have to. Elena pulled something from her cardigan pocket, a small revolver. He also says to give you this message. Before either of them could move, Elena raised the gun to her own temple. No! Jin Sang lunged forward, hand outstretched. The shot cracked through the house like thunder. Elena's body crumpled to the nursery floor, blood spreading across the carpet in a dark pool that reached toward the family tree on the wall. Hannah screamed from somewhere downstairs, a sound of pure terror that went on and on. Raphael started crying, frightened by his sister's screams and the loud noise. Solange stood frozen, both hands on her pregnant belly, staring at Elena's body. Blood was still spreading, still reaching, like Kong's influence, everywhere, in everything. Jin Sang moved to the body on instinct, checking for a pulse even though half her skull was gone. His hands came away red. He looked at them like they belonged to someone else. Call 911, he said, voice hollow. Now. But Solange couldn't move, couldn't breathe. The nursery walls covered in their stolen life. Elena's body cooling on the floor. Hannah screaming. Raphael crying. The family tree painted in blood spelling out Kong's claim on their children. Jin Sang stood, walked to her, took her face in his blood-stained hands. Solange, look at me. She met his eyes, saw her own horror reflected back. We're going to protect our children, he said. We're going to end him, together. He's everywhere. Her voice broke. In our bed, in our home. He watched us. Everything. Every time we... She couldn't finish. I know. He pulled her close, careful of her belly. But we fight anyway. We've survived worse. Have we? She looked past him at the family tree, at Kong's name at the top like a king on a throne, at their children's names below like subjects, like property. He's been playing us since the beginning. Everything we thought we won, every battle we thought we survived, he was letting us win. Because it was all part of this. Sirens started wailing in the distance, growing closer. Hannah's screams had turned to sobs. Raphael was calling for them, his little voice frightened and confused. Jin Sang pressed his forehead to Solange's, both of them standing in Raphael's nursery with a dead woman at their feet and their violated life displayed on the walls like trophies. Tonight, he whispered, 8 p.m., we go to him. And walk into a trap. Yes, with our children. He'll kill them if we don't. You know he will. She did know, had known since the moment she saw that family tree. Kong didn't just want to destroy them. He wanted to own them, make them part of his legacy. And he'd sacrifice anyone to make that happen. Then we bring weapons, she said. Body armor. Everything. You're 7 months pregnant. And they're my children. We go together. We end him together. Or we die trying. He kissed her then, soft and desperate, tasting tears and blood and terror and love. When they broke apart, the sirens were right outside. Police would be here in seconds. Questions, statements, chaos. But at 8 p.m., none of that would matter. At 8 p.m., they'd walk into Kong's trap with their children, knowing it was suicide, knowing they had no choice. Because Kong had shown them the truth. He'd been in their lives since before they even met. Watching, waiting, planning. Every victory they'd thought they won had been part of his design, and now he was ready to collect what he believed was his son, his grandchildren, his legacy. The police burst through the front door downstairs. Jin Sang pulled Solange toward the sound, away from the nursery, away from Elena's body, and the blood-painted family tree. But they couldn't walk away from the truth. Kong was already inside them, inside their family, inside everything they'd built. And tonight at 8 p.m., they'd finally face the monster who'd been pulling their strings all along. Together, until death, which might come sooner than either of them wanted to believe. The police left at midnight. 6 hours of statements, crime scene photos, FBI agents asking the same questions in different ways. Elena's body had been removed in a black bag. The blood in Raphael's nursery had been documented but not cleaned. They'd have to do that themselves. Lockdown protocols activated immediately. Dante, Jin Sang's head of security, assembled the team in the compound's control room. Former Marines, ex-intelligence operatives, people Jin Sang had trusted with his family's lives. Now any one of them could be compromised. Full sweep, Jin Sang ordered, his voice flat. Every room, every vent, every fixture. I want every camera, every bug, every violation Kong planted in my home found and destroyed. On it, boss. Dante moved to coordinate the teams. Jin Sang stood at the monitors watching his compound transform into a fortress. Additional guards on the perimeter, motion sensors upgraded, every entry point reinforced, but it felt like closing the barn door after the horses had escaped. Kong had already been inside, for months, maybe years. A commotion at the front gate pulled his attention to the security feed. A car, speeding toward the compound, no identification. The guards had weapons raised. Don't shoot, a woman's voice came through the intercom, desperate, terrified. Please, I need to see Jin Sang. Tell him it's Yuna. Tell him his father sent me to kill him, but I can't. I won't. Jin Sang's blood went cold. Yuna, Kong's daughter, his ex-fiancée from years ago, before Solange. The woman Kong had tried to use to bind Jin Sang to his organization permanently. Let her through, he said into the comm, but search her, weapons, wires, everything. 3 minutes later, Yuna stumbled into his office. She looked nothing like the polished woman he remembered. Her clothes were torn and bloodstained. Her face was bruised, one eye swollen nearly shut. She was shaking so hard she could barely stand. Jin Sang. Her voice cracked. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. He kept the desk between them, hand on the gun at his hip. What are you doing here? He sent me to kill you tonight. Said if I didn't, he'd do to me what he did to... She broke down sobbing. I can't. I know what he is now, what he's always been. I can't be part of it anymore. Solange, Jin Sang called out. His wife appeared in the doorway moments later, taking in the scene with sharp eyes. Who is this? Yuna, Kong's daughter. He watched Solange's face carefully. My ex-fiancée. Something flickered in Solange's expression, but she moved forward anyway. She's bleeding. Badly. She looked at Jin Sang. Medical room. Now. They moved Yuna to the compound's medical facility, a fully equipped space Jin Sang had built for emergencies. Solange washed her hands, pulled on gloves, and began examining Yuna's injuries with practiced efficiency. Jin Sang stood guard at the door, weapon visible, watching every movement. Broken ribs, Solange said, her fingers gentle despite her wariness. Defensive wounds on your arms. Someone beat you recently, within the last few hours. My father? Yuna winced as Solange cleaned a deep gash on her shoulder. When I told him I wouldn't kill Jin Sang, that I couldn't murder the man She stopped, eyes flicking to Solange. The man I used to love. Solange's hands paused for just a moment. Used to? I thought I loved him when we were engaged, but my father arranged it all, told me what to say, how to act, what to feel. Yuna looked at Jin Sang. You never loved me either. I know that now. You were trying to survive him, just like I was. Why did you really come here? Jin Sang's voice was hard. To beg forgiveness? To warn us? Or is this another one of Kong's games? To help you kill him, Yuna's voice went steel hard despite her injuries. I want him dead. I've wanted him dead since I was 16 and realized the man I called father was actually a monster. Solange finished bandaging the worst wounds, then stripped off her gloves. And we're supposed to believe you? Just like that? No. Yuna met her eyes. You're supposed to be smart enough to use me. I know things, his routines, his properties, his weaknesses, and he thinks I'm still loyal, still his obedient daughter. What's his weakness? Jin Sang moved closer. You. Yuna looked at him. He's obsessed with you, with making you acknowledge him as your father, making you part of his legacy. Everything he's done, every move he's made, it's all been to force you back into his world. I'd rather die. Then you will. Yuna's voice dropped. Because he's not planning to give you a choice. The dinner tonight at 8, it's not just a meeting, it's a claiming. He has documents, lawyers, witnesses. He's going to legally declare you his heir, whether you want it or not. Transfer assets, properties, everything. Make you complicit in his empire. Solange moved to Jin Sang's side, her hand finding his. Why would he do that now? Yuna's eyes dropped to Solange's pregnant belly. Because of the baby. He wants the child raised in his world, taught his ways. He sees it as his second chance to create the perfect heir. And if Jin Sang refuses, he takes the baby by force. Solange's other hand went protective over her stomach. Worse, he makes Jin Sang watch as he raises the child to become exactly what Jin Sang fought so hard not to be. Yuna's voice shook. I've heard him talk about it. He's been planning this since he found out about the pregnancy, maybe longer. Jin Sang felt rage and terror war in his chest. How does he know about the pregnancy? We've been careful. Private appointments, no public announcements. He has people everywhere, in hospitals, police departments, government offices. Yuna looked between them. He's been building this network for 40 years. You can't hide from him. You can only fight him. Solange's grip on Jin Sang's hand tightened. Then that's what we do. Mrs. Beck, Yuna's voice softened. I know you have no reason to trust me. I know what I represent to you. But I'm telling you the truth. If you go to that dinner tonight, you won't come back. Not as the people you are now. Then we don't go as the people we are now. Solange's eyes were fierce. We go as what we need to be to end him. Jin Sang looked at his wife, 7 months pregnant and talking about walking into a death trap, and felt something shift in his chest. Pride. Terror. Love so intense it hurt. I need to finish the security sweep, he said. Solange, stay with her. Don't tell her anything important. Not yet. He left them in the medical room, 2 women bound by their connection to him and Kong, and returned to the control room. Dante met him at the door. Found 4 more cameras, 2 in the kitchen, 1 in your office, 1 in the kids' playroom. Destroy them all. Already done. But boss, if he had 16 cameras in here, then he knows everything. Jin Sang's jaw clenched. Which means we can't plan here. We need somewhere he doesn't have eyes. Where? I'll figure it out. Right now, I need you to do something else. He pulled Dante aside, lowered his voice. Run background checks on everyone. Again, go back 10 years, 15 if you can. I need to know who else has been compromised. That's going to take however long it takes. Start with the people who've been here longest. Dante's face went grim. You thinking someone on the inside? I know there's someone on the inside. Elena lasted 6 months, but Kong's been watching us longer than that. Someone gave him access. I'll start now. Jin Sang returned to his office, sat at his desk, and pulled up personnel files. 12 people on his security team, 8 staff members, 3 nannies over the past 2 years, 1 assistant, Mina, his assistant for 3 years, present for everything, every meeting, every family dinner, every private moment he thought was secure. His door opened. Solange entered, her pregnant body moving with the careful grace she'd developed in recent weeks. She came around the desk without asking and settled herself sideways in his lap, arms around his neck. Yuna's sleeping, exhausted and injured. I gave her something for the pain. She kissed his temple. You okay? No. He wrapped his arms around her, one hand on her belly. Kong's trying to claim me legally, make me his heir, make our baby part of his world, and I don't know how to stop him. We kill him. Her voice was matter of fact. Like we planned in Sao Paulo, except this time we make sure he's really dead. You're pregnant. And I'm tired of people using that as a reason to sideline me. She pulled back to look at him. I'm not fragile, Jin. I'm fierce. I'm a mother protecting her children. There's nothing more dangerous than that. He kissed her, soft and deep, pouring everything he couldn't say into the contact. When they broke apart, he pressed his forehead to hers. If we do this, he whispered, if we go after Kong tonight, we might not come back. Then we better make damn sure we do. She kissed him again. Because our children need both of us, not just one. A knock on the door. Dante entered, his face pale. Found it. Found who's been feeding Kong information. Jin Sang's arms tightened around Solange. Who? Mina. The name hit like a physical blow. Solange felt Jin Sang go rigid beneath her, felt his heart rate spike against her side. No. His voice was hollow. Not Mina. I'm sorry, boss. Found encrypted communications on her personal laptop. Years of reports, schedules, movements, medical information, everything. Jin Sang stood so fast Solange had to catch herself. Where is she? Staff quarters, locked in her room. She doesn't know we found it yet. They moved as one through the compound. Solange kept pace despite her pregnancy, her hand in Jin Sang's, feeling him vibrate with barely controlled rage. When they reached Mina's door, Dante unlocked it. Mina sat on her bed, hands folded in her lap, tears already streaming down her face. I'm sorry, she whispered before anyone could speak. I'm so sorry. Jin Sang crossed the room in 3 strides, grabbed her by the throat, and slammed her against the wall. How long? Jin, stop. Solange pulled at his arm. Let her talk. How long have you been spying on us? 8 years, Mina choked out. Since before you even met Solange. He has my sister, Jihai. Took her when she was 16. Said if I didn't report everything, he'd kill her. I didn't have a choice. Jin Sang's grip tightened. Solange could see murder in his eyes. She grabbed his face, forced him to look at her. Jin, look at me. Look at me. His eyes focused on hers. Wild, devastated, betrayed. Let her go. We need her alive. She sold us out. For 8 years I know. But if we kill her, we learn nothing. And her sister might still be alive. Something in her voice got through. Jin Sang released Mina, who collapsed to the floor gasping. He backed away, hands shaking, while Solange knelt awkwardly in front of the woman who'd betrayed them. Is your sister real? Yes. Mina pulled out her phone with trembling hands, showed a photo. Young Korean woman, maybe 24 now, holding a newspaper with last month's date. He sends proof of life every month. As long as I report, she lives. What did you tell him? Solange kept her voice calm. Therapist voice, getting information. Everything, your schedules, the children's routines, medical appointments. When Jin Sang found out about the tumor, Kong knew within hours. I had to tell him. He would have known if I held back. What else? Jin Sang's voice came from behind Solange, tight with controlled fury. He's coming for Solange 3 days from now. You have a prenatal appointment at Dallas Presbyterian at 2 p.m. on Thursday. He's going to take her then, in broad daylight, in front of witnesses. Solange's hand went to her belly. How? Sleeper agents, Dallas PD, FBI, people he's had in place for years. They'll create a situation, make it look legal, a warrant, protective custody, something. And by the time you realize what's happening, she'll be gone. Mina looked at Jin Sang. And if you try to stop it, other agents will kill Hana and Raphael. He has their school covered, the park where they play, everywhere they go. You can't protect them all. The room went silent. Solange felt ice water in her veins. Kong had thought of everything, every angle, every contingency. Why are you telling us this? Jin Sang asked. Why not just let it happen? Because I'm tired. Mina's voice broke. Tired of watching him destroy good people. Tired of being his puppet. I've spent 8 years watching you build a family, watching you love each other, watching you try to be better than what he made you. And I've reported every second of it. She looked at Solange. You saved Hana. You gave that little girl her voice back. And I helped Kong spy on you while you did it. I'm done. Even if it cost me my sister, I'm done. Solange studied her face, looking for deception, found only exhaustion and genuine remorse. If we believe you, she said slowly, if we use this information, Kong will know you betrayed him. I know. He'll kill your sister. I know. Fresh tears fell. But maybe you can find her first. Maybe between now and Thursday, you can locate her and get her out. That's a lot of maybes. Jin Sang's voice was cold. It's all I have left to offer. That and every detail about Kong's operation I've learned in 8 years. Mina looked at him. I can help you kill him if you let me. Solange pushed herself to her feet with effort, her pregnant belly making the movement awkward. She looked at Jin Sang, saw war in his eyes. Rage versus pragmatism. Revenge versus survival. We use her, she said softly. We don't have time for anything else. He stared at Mina for a long moment, then nodded once. Dante, keep her under guard. If she tries to contact Kong, kill her. Understood. They left Mina under guard and returned to their bedroom. Jin Sang locked the door, then just stood there, his back to Solange, shoulders shaking. Jin, everyone I trust betrays me. Everyone. First my mother died, then Kong made me into a killer. Ji Woo sold our daughter. My grandmother hid the truth about my parentage. And now Mina. 3 years of loyalty, all a lie. Solange crossed to him, wrapped her arms around him from behind, her pregnant belly pressed against his back. Not everyone. Not me. Not Hana. Not Raphael. Not this baby growing inside me. He turned in her arms, pulled her close. I'm sorry. You didn't sign up for this. For any of this. Yes, I did. She tilted his face down to hers. I signed up the moment I chose to stay in that compound and help Hana. I signed up when I fell in love with you. I signed up every time we decided to fight instead of run. She kissed him softly. We're in this together. Until death or victory. Or both. His voice was rough. Then both. They stood there holding each other, stealing moments of peace before the war began again. Outside, night was falling. 8 p.m. approached. The dinner invitation waited. But now they had information. Now they knew Kong's next move. And knowing meant they could counter. Jin Sang pulled back, traced her face with his fingers like he was memorizing her. I need you. One more time. Before we do this. Then take me. Her voice was fierce. Love me like the world's ending. Because it might be. He kissed her then, deep and desperate, walking her backward to their bed. She pulled his shirt over his head, her hands tracing every tattoo, every scar, every mark of his violent past that he tried to leave behind. You're mine, she whispered against his mouth. Say it. Yours, always yours. He kissed down her neck, her collarbone, worshiping her pregnant body with reverence. And you're mine. Always. They made love slowly, carefully, his hands and mouth everywhere, hers matching his intensity. When he entered her, they both stilled, eyes locked, breathing synchronized. Sarangai, he whispered in Korean. I love you. You te amo, she answered in Portuguese. I love you. They moved together, building slowly, savoring every moment, every touch, every whispered promise. When they finished, tangled together in sheets that smelled like them, he held her close and felt their baby kick between them. We're going to survive this, she said against his chest. All of us. Promise me something. His voice was rough. If I don't make it, if Kong, don't. Promise me you'll take the children and run. That you won't try to stay and fight? That you'll live? She pulled back to look at him, tears in her eyes. I promise. If you promise the same, if I don't make it, you take our babies and you live. You fight that tumor. You survive. I promise. They lay there in the darkness, holding each other, until a soft knock on the door pulled them back to reality. Boss, Dante's voice, it's 7 p.m. If we're doing this, we need to move. Jin Sang looked at Solange. Last chance to back out. Not a chance in hell. She kissed him once more. Let's go kill your father. 3 days passed in tense preparation. Jin Sang coordinated with Dante, running security drills, checking weapons, planning escape routes. Solange spent time with Hana and Raphael, memorizing their faces, their laughs, storing up memories in case Thursday came and Kong took everything. Tae-jin, Hana's maternal grandfather, had moved into the compound. The old Korean man watched the children while Jin Sang and Solange planned. He asked no questions, just provided silent support and fierce protection. Wednesday night, Jin Sang held Solange in their bed, his hand on her 7-month belly, feeling their baby kick. Tomorrow, she whispered. 2 p.m., Presbyterian Hospital. I'll have 20 men on you. Dante will drive, armored vehicle. We'll be ready for anything. What if ready isn't enough? He kissed her temple. Then we fight anyway, like we always do. She turned in his arms, kissed him deeply. I love you. Whatever happens tomorrow. I love you. Nothing will happen. I promise. They made love slowly, savoring each touch, each whispered promise. When they finished, tangled together, Jin Sang held her close and tried not to think about how many ways that tomorrow could go wrong. Thursday morning came too bright. Solange dressed carefully, comfortable clothes that accommodated her pregnancy. Jin Sang triple-checked her vest, the modified body armor that fit around her belly. Not perfect protection, but something. Daddy! Hana appeared in their doorway, holding Raphael's hand. Where's Mama going? Doctor appointment, baby. Solange knelt awkwardly, hugged both children. I'll be back in a few hours. Be good for Grandpa Tae-jin, okay? Okay, Mama. Hana kissed her cheek. Love you. Love you too, sweet girl. Jin Sang walked Solange to the armored SUV where Dante waited. 20 security personnel and 4 vehicles. Everything looked perfect. Too perfect. I don't like this, he said for the 100th time. Neither do I, but we don't have a choice. She touched his face. I'll be fine. You stay here with the kids. That's the most important thing. Call me the second you're done. I will. She kissed him once more, then climbed into the SUV. Jin Sang watched them drive away, dread pooling in his stomach. Something felt wrong, but he couldn't identify what. He returned to the house. Tae-jin had the children in the living room playing with blocks. Normal, safe. Jin Sang poured himself coffee, checked security feeds. Everything looked normal. Mr. Beck? Mina appeared in the kitchen doorway, still under guard but allowed limited movement. I made fresh coffee. Thought you might need it. Thanks. He took the mug she offered, drank deeply. Rich, strong, exactly how he liked it. He checked his watch. 1:30. Solange would arrive at the hospital in 20 minutes. Everything was fine. Why didn't it feel fine? His vision blurred slightly. He blinked, shook his head. Probably stress, lack of sleep, the tumor. Any number of things. The mug slipped from his fingers, shattered on the tile floor. Mr. Beck? Mina's voice sounded distant. Wrong. Are you okay? He tried to answer, but his tongue wouldn't work. His legs buckled. The kitchen floor rushed up to meet him. Drugged. The coffee. She drugged him. I'm sorry, Mina whispered as darkness pulled him under. But he has my sister. He really does have her. And if I don't do this, he'll kill her. I'm so sorry. Jin Sang tried to fight, tried to stay conscious, but the drug was too strong. The last thing he saw before blackness took him was Mina's tears. He woke to screaming. His own screaming. Panic. Terror. Pure animal rage. Tae-jin's face swam into focus above him. Jin Sang, calm down. You're okay. The children. He tried to stand, but his body wouldn't obey. Where are the children? Tae-jin's face went pale. I thought they were with you. I went to the bathroom for 2 minutes. When I came back... No! Jin Sang forced himself upright despite his spinning head. Hana! Raphael! He stumbled through the house, Tae-jin supporting him. The living room was empty. Blocks scattered. Raphael stuffed bare on the floor. But no children. On the coffee table, a note written in precise handwriting. Come to the place where you killed me. Bring my daughter-in-law. Come alone. You have 2 hours before I teach them what family really means. K. Jin Sang's phone started ringing. Solange. Jin, we're at the hospital. Nothing's happened. No ambush. No. He took them. His voice sounded dead even to his own ears. Kong took Hana and Raphael. It was never about you. It was about getting me alone and unguarded. Silence on the other end. Then, I'm coming back. Now. The place where I killed him. Sao Paulo. That's where he wants us. We're in Dallas. That's a private plane. Now. He knows we have one. He's expecting us. Jin Sang looked at the note again. 2 hours. We'll never make it. Then we break every rule. We fly faster. Her voice broke. Our babies, Jin. He has our babies. I know. He forced himself to think past the panic. Mina drugged me. She's working for him. Has been all along. Her sister is real and he's using her. Where is she now? Jin Sang looked around. Mina was gone. Of course she was gone. Doesn't matter. Get back here. We fly to Sao Paulo. We end this. 45 minutes later, they were on Jin Sang's private plane, tearing through the sky toward Brazil. Solange sat across from him, 7 months pregnant and strapping on weapons with mechanical precision. He's had them for an hour, she said. Her voice was eerily calm. Too calm. What do you think he's done to them? Nothing. He won't hurt them. They're his leverage. You sure about that? He wasn't, but he nodded anyway. I'm sure. The flight took 4 hours. 4 hours of hell. 4 hours of imagining every terrible thing Kong could be doing to their children. 4 hours of Solange sitting rigid, one hand on her belly, the other gripping her gun. They landed in Sao Paulo at dusk, drove straight to the warehouse district where they killed Kong 3 years ago, the place where this nightmare should have ended. The building looked abandoned, broken windows, crumbling walls. But Jin Sang knew better. This was Kong's style. Hide in plain sight. They approached the door together. It was unlocked. Open invitation. This is a trap, Solange whispered. I know. Jin Sang checked his weapon. But our children are in there. They entered. The door slammed shut behind them, locks engaging automatically. The warehouse interior had been transformed. What should have been empty industrial space was now furnished like a living room. Expensive furniture, soft lighting, classical music playing softly. And in the center, sitting calmly in an armchair, was Kong Min-jun. On the floor beside him, slumped against each other, were Hana and Raphael, both sleeping, both breathing, but completely unconscious. Welcome home, children. Kong's voice was warm, pleasant. I'm so glad you could make it. Jin Sang's gun was already aimed at Kong's head. Let them go, now! Or what? Kong gestured to the children. You'll shoot me while they sleep 3 feet away? What will you tell them when they wake? That daddy killed grandfather? Solange moved forward, her pregnant body between Jin Sang and the children. What did you give them? Just a sedative, harmless. They'll wake in a few hours with no memory of any of this. Kong stood slowly. I'm not a monster. These are my grandchildren. I would never truly harm them. You kidnapped them. Solange's voice shook with rage. I brought them somewhere safe, away from the violence and chaos you two insist on living in. Kong moved toward Hana, touched her sleeping face with disturbing gentleness. Look at her, so peaceful, so innocent. She doesn't know yet that her father is dying, that her mother is bringing another child into a world of bloodshed and danger. Don't touch her. Jin Sang's finger tightened on the trigger. You won't shoot me. Kong's smile was confident. Because you're better than I made you. Because Solange taught you to value life, to choose mercy over vengeance. He looked at Solange. Isn't that right, daughter-in-law? You spent 3 years trying to make him soft, domesticated, safe. I've spent 3 years helping him be the man he always was underneath your abuse. Solange's voice was steady. The man who deserves a family, who deserves love, who deserves peace. Peace, Kong laughed. There is no peace, not in our world. Only temporary ceasefires between battles. He moved toward Raphael now. This boy, he looks exactly like Jin Sang did at his age. Same eyes, same stubborn expression, even in sleep. He'll grow up to be just like his father. He'll grow up to be better than both of us. Jin Sang took a step closer. Now step away from my son. A door opened behind them. Footsteps. Jin Sang spun, gun raised. Yuna stepped into the room. Not injured, not terrified like she'd been at the compound. Perfectly composed. Gun in hand, aimed directly at Solange's pregnant belly. Hello, Jin Sang. Her smile was cold. Miss me? The world tilted. Solange gasped. Jin Sang felt his grip on reality starting to slip. No, you were beaten. You came to us for help. I came to you because my father told me to. Yuna's voice was matter-of-fact. The injuries were real. He beat me quite thoroughly to sell it. But I've been his daughter for 26 years. Did you really think I'd betray him for you? She laughed. You never loved me, Jin Sang. I was always just a tool Kong used to control you. I know that. I've always known that. Then why? Solange's voice shook. Why help him now? Because he promised me something I've wanted for 8 years. Yuna's eyes locked on Jin Sang. If I deliver you to him, if I make sure his plan works perfectly, he'll give me what he never gave me before. A real chance. Not as a pawn, as a partner. Kong moved beside her, his hand on Yuna's shoulder. My daughter has been very helpful, feeding you information at exactly the right times, making sure you acted exactly as I needed you to. Even her confession about loving you was calculated, designed to make you trust her. Jin Sang's mind raced through every conversation, every moment with Yuna at the compound. All of it orchestrated, all of it planned. Mina, he asked, though he already knew the answer. Her sister is very much alive, and will stay alive as long as Mina does exactly what I say. Kong's voice was pleasant. I've found that keeping people's loved ones hostage is remarkably effective. You should try it sometime, son. I'm nothing like you. No? Kong moved to stand between the sleeping children. Then prove it. Walk away. Leave your children with me. Take your pregnant wife and disappear. I'll raise Hana and Raphael, give them everything, wealth, power, protection. They'll want for nothing. Except love, except freedom, except everything that makes life worth living. Solange stepped forward despite Yuna's gun. You'll turn them into what you tried to turn Jin into. Weapons, tools, nothing human left inside. I'll turn them into survivors. Kong's eyes were sincere. Into people who can navigate this world without being destroyed by it. Unlike their father, who insists on clinging to weakness disguised as morality. Jin Sang felt something break inside him. This man, this monster, had orchestrated everything. The kidnapping, the fear, the manipulation, all to prove that Jin Sang was powerless, that Kong would always win. Solange, his voice came out broken. What do we do? She looked at him, her brown eyes full of pain and love and fierce determination. We fight, like we always do. Then so quietly he almost missed it. She mouthed 2 words, trust me. She turned to Kong, hands raised in surrender. Stop, please. I'll stay. I'll do whatever you want. Just let Jin Sang take the children and leave. Solange, no. Jin Sang reached for her. Let him go. She was crying now, real tears streaming down her face. You want someone to raise this baby as yours? Fine. I'll stay. I'll be the perfect daughter-in-law. I'll teach the baby everything you want. Just please, please let my family go. Kong studied her with interest. You'd sacrifice yourself, your unborn child, for Hana and Raphael, for the man I love. She sobbed. Yes, 1,000 times yes. Jin Sang stared at her, his heart shattering. This was the sacrifice play from the outline. She was offering herself up to save their children. But her eyes held something else. A plan, a desperate, dangerous plan. You have my word, Kong said solemnly, as a man who values family above all else. Your husband and children will leave here safely, and you will stay, you and the baby. Solange moved toward Kong, her pregnant body vulnerable, her hands still raised. She looked back at Jin Sang one last time, her face full of love and goodbye. Then she turned and extended her hand to Kong. The moment their hands touched, everything exploded into chaos. The moment their hands touched, Solange's other hand whipped out from behind her back. The small gun Jin Sang had given her months ago, the one she'd kept hidden in the waistband at the small of her back, concealed by her loose shirt. She pressed it against Kong's temple. Nobody move. Time froze. Kong's eyes widened. Yuna's gun swung toward Solange, but Jin Sang was faster. His shot cracked through the warehouse, catching Yuna in the shoulder. She spun, screaming, her gun clattering across the concrete floor. Kong laughed even with a gun to his head. The sound was genuinely amused. Clever, daughter-in-law. Very clever. But you won't pull that trigger. You're too good, too moral, too human. That's exactly why my son fell in love with you. You're right. Solange's voice was steady despite the trembling Jin Sang could see in her arms. I won't kill you in cold blood. I'm not like you. I'm not a murderer. Then you lost. Kong's smile widened. But I will die protecting my children. She pressed the gun harder. And if dying means taking you with me, then that's exactly what happens. So stay very, very still. She stepped backward, pulling Kong with her, keeping his body between her pregnant form and any other threats. Her eyes never left Jin Sang's face. Jin, get them out. Get Hana and Raphael and leave. Now. He didn't move. Couldn't. Every instinct screamed at him not to leave her. I said go, her voice cracked. Our babies come first, always. Get them out of here and I'll be right behind you. I promise. Jin Sang forced himself to move. He crossed to where Hana and Raphael slept, checked their pulses with shaking hands. Both steady, both strong, just sedated like Kong had said. He gathered Raphael in one arm, tried to lift Hana with the other. You think this changes anything? Kong's voice was conversational despite the gun. I have men outside, dozens of them, surrounding this building. The moment you step through that door, they'll kill everyone except the children. Because the children are what I want. You and Solange are just obstacles. You're lying. But Jin Sang's voice wavered. Am I? Kong's eyes glittered. Check your phone, if you can. Jin Sang pulled out his phone with his free hand, Raphael still cradled against his chest. 7 missed calls from Dante's number. All within the last 10 minutes, then nothing. Signal completely dead. Military-grade jammer, Kong explained pleasantly. Been running since you walked in. You're completely cut off. Dante and his team are already dead. I had them eliminated the moment you entered Brazilian airspace. Solange's face went pale. Jin Sang felt his world crumbling. You're trapped, Kong continued. And that baby Solange is carrying? That baby is mine whether you accept it or not. Because I'll be the one there when it's born. I'll be the one who raises it. I'll be the one who teaches it what family really means. And there's absolutely nothing either of you can do to stop that. Solange's gun hand trembled for the first time. Jin Sang saw real fear flash across her face. The same fear he felt gnawing at his own chest. They'd walked into Kong's trap exactly as he'd planned. And now there was no way out. He's lying. Jin Sang's voice sounded hollow even to his own ears. It's psychological warfare, making us think we've lost before we even... The door behind them burst open. Jin Sang spun, dropping into a crouch over the children, gun raised. Mina stumbled through, clutching her stomach. Blood seeped between her fingers, dark and spreading. Her face was ghost white, her legs barely holding her. She held a phone in her other hand, the screen cracked but glowing. "Boss," her voice was barely a whisper. "Call Dante. He's alive." Kong's face changed. The confident smile flickered. "What did you do?" His voice went dangerous. "They're all alive." Mina collapsed against the doorframe, sliding down, leaving a blood smear on the wood. "I gave Dante the real jammer frequency before you shot me. They've been listening to everything, every word. They're coming. You stupid girl. My sister's dead." Mina's eyes locked on Kong with pure hatred. "You showed me her body before you shot me. Said she died 7 years ago. 7 years I worked for you. 7 years I betrayed people I cared about. For a corpse." She laughed, the sound wet and painful. "I chose a side, finally, even if it kills me." The building shook. Explosions outside, close enough to rattle the windows. Gunfire erupted, automatic weapons tearing through the night. Dante's voice crackled through Mina's phone, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Boss, we're coming in. Get down. 30 seconds. Everything happened at once. Kong shoved Solange backward with brutal force. She stumbled, 7 months pregnant and off balance, her gun firing wild as she fell. The shot missed Kong by inches. Yuna, bleeding from her shoulder, lunged toward her fallen gun on the floor. Mina tried to stand, collapsed completely, her blood pooling. Jin Sang made a choice. He threw himself over Hana and Raphael, covering their small bodies with his own, as windows exploded inward. Smoke grenades, flashbangs, Dante's team coming in hard. "Solange!" He couldn't see her through the smoke, couldn't see anything. Just held the children and prayed. Her gun fired twice more, muzzle flashes in the smoke. Then silence. "I'm okay." Her voice somewhere in the chaos. "I'm okay." The smoke was so thick Jin Sang could barely breathe. Hana stirred beneath him, coughing. Raphael whimpered, the sedative wearing off enough for confusion and fear. "Daddy!" Hana's small voice cut through everything. "Daddy, I can't breathe." "I've got you, baby. Just hold on. Just..." Hands grabbed him. Dante's voice. "Boss, come on, out, now!" They were moving. Dante hauled Jin Sang up, helped him carry the children, through smoke, through chaos, through a building that seemed to be tearing itself apart. Outside, cool night air. Sao Paulo's lights in the distance. Jin Sang set the children down, spun back toward the warehouse. "Solange, where's..." She emerged from the smoke like a ghost. Gun still in her hand, pregnant belly leading, face covered in soot and streaked with tears, but alive, breathing, whole. He caught her, pulled her and their unborn baby against his chest. "You're okay. You're okay. The children? Safe. Both safe." Hana was crying now, fully awake, terrified. Raphael clung to Jin Sang's leg, his little face confused and scared. Dante's team surrounded them, weapons trained on the warehouse. "Kong?" Jin Sang asked. Dante's face was grim. "Gone. Back exit we didn't know about. Yuna too. They disappeared in the smoke." "Of course they did. Kong always had an escape plan. Always." Jin Sang should have known better than to think they could actually trap him. "Mina?" "Dead. Bled out before we could get to her." Dante's voice held genuine regret. "She saved us, boss. Gave us everything we needed to breach. Died doing it." Solange made a sound like a wounded animal. Despite everything Mina had done, she'd chosen them in the end. Had died protecting them. "Come on," Jin Sang gathered his family. "We need to leave, now, before Kong regroups." They flew back to Dallas in silence. Hana and Raphael finally sleeping naturally. Exhaustion winning over fear. Solange sat with her hand on her belly, staring at nothing. Jin Sang held them all and tried not to think about how close they'd come to losing everything. Back at the compound, Tae-jin met them, with relief and anguish on his aged face. "I'm sorry. I should have protected them better. It's not your fault. Jin Sang's voice was hollow. Kong would have found a way no matter what. That night in their bedroom, after the children were finally settled with counselors and security doubled and tripled, Solange broke down completely. He's still out there, still watching, still planning. She sobbed against Jin Sang's chest. Our children will never be safe. This baby, she touched her belly, will be born into this nightmare. And you, her voice cracked, you're dying. You have months, maybe less, and I'll be alone facing him. You won't be alone. But even as he said it, Jin Sang knew it was a lie. The tumor in his head was growing. He could feel it. Headaches getting worse. Vision blurring. Time running out. What do? She whispered. We live for however long we have. We love our children. We fight when we have to, and we hope it's enough. It wasn't enough, but it was all they had. 2 months passed. Kong didn't attack, didn't contact them, just vanished like smoke, which somehow felt worse than knowing where he was. Jin Sang got sicker. The headaches constant now. Nosebleeds daily. His body betraying him while his enemy waited in the shadows. And then, at 3 a.m. on a cold November morning, Solange went into labor. Early, 2 weeks early. But the stress, the fear, the baby decided it was time. 12 hours later, Jin Sang held his son for the first time. Perfect, tiny, beautiful. Dark hair like his mother's full lips, skin the perfect blend of both parents. This child born from love and violence, hope and terror. What do we name him? Solange whispered from the hospital bed, exhausted and glowing despite everything. Jin Sang thought of his mother, the woman Kong had loved and destroyed, the woman who tried to give him a better life. Achan, he said softly. It means loving and good, a masculine version of my mother's name. Achan. Solange smiled through tears. It's perfect. But Jin Sang could barely focus on his new son. The room spun, his head pounded, the tumor growing, stealing his time. 3 weeks later, he collapsed during a security meeting, woke in the hospital to Solange's terrified face and a doctor's grim prognosis. Weeks, maybe a month? I'm sorry. That night, Jin Sang held his newborn son and tried not to think about all the moments he'd miss. First steps, first words, first day of school, everything. I'm sorry, he whispered to Solange. I'm so sorry I won't see him grow up. Won't see any of them grow up. Then fight. Her voice was fierce. You promised me you'd fight. Experimental treatments, clinical trials, something. There's nothing. There's one. She pulled out papers, information she'd clearly been researching. In Seoul, Dr. Han Jae-sung, revolutionary technique, 50-50 chance. But you have to leave now, have to commit to 6 months. Full treatment. You'll miss everything. I'll miss everything. He looked at Achan sleeping in his arms, at Hana and Raphael playing quietly in the corner of the hospital room. I can't leave you alone. Not with Kong still out there. You have to, she gripped his face, forced him to look at her. Because if you die, Kong wins. He gets to raise our children, gets to shape them. You have to survive, have to come back to us, please. He saw the desperation in her eyes, the fear, the love. Okay, his voice broke. Okay, I'll go, I'll fight, I'll come back to you. They kissed, soft and desperate, their newborn son between them. 1 week later, Jin Sang boarded a plane to Seoul, leaving his wife, his 3 children, his entire world, chasing a 50-50 chance at survival. The treatment was brutal, experimental surgery, radiation, chemotherapy. His hair fell out, his body wasted. He threw up more times than he could count, spent weeks so weak he could barely stand. But he thought of Solange, of Hana's laugh, of Raphael's hugs, of Achan's tiny fingers wrapped around his thumb. And he survived. 3 months in, he called Solange, hearing her voice, hearing the children in the background. Achan crying, Hana asking when Daddy was coming home. It nearly broke him. How are you? Her voice sounded tired, stretched thin. Surviving? Barely. You? Same. A pause. Kong sent a gift. Baby clothes. A note saying he's waiting for the right time. Jin Sang's blood went cold despite being thousands of miles away. Increase security. Don't go anywhere alone. I know. We're managing. Just, her voice cracked. Come home. Please come home. I will. I promise. 6 months. 6 months of hell. 6 months of fighting for every breath, every day, every moment of life. And then Dr. Han showed him the scans. The tumor's gone. Completely. I've never seen results like this. Jin Sang stared at the images. His brain, clear. No parasitic mass, no death sentence. I can go home? You can go home. 6 months and 2 days after leaving Dallas, Jin Sang stood on Solange's doorstep. Bald from chemotherapy. 30 pounds lighter. Scarred and broken, but alive. He rang the bell. Footsteps inside. The door opened. Solange stood there holding Achan on her hip. 6 months old now. Bigger, alert, beautiful. She stared at Jin Sang like she was seeing a ghost. Jin? Tumor's gone. His voice cracked. I'm coming home. The baby fell from her arms. Jin Sang caught him reflexively as Solange collapsed against his chest, sobbing. He held them both, his wife, his son, his whole world. You came back. She couldn't stop crying. You really came back. I promised. Hannah and Raphael appeared behind her, their faces lighting up. Daddy! They crashed into him, all of them, a tangle of arms and tears and joy. His family, whole, together, alive. That night after the children were asleep, after he'd held each one and memorized their faces all over again, Jin Sang lay in bed with Solange. Kong, he asked quietly, still out there, still watching. But we've survived 6 months without you. We'll survive whatever comes next. She touched his face, tracing the changes the treatment had made. We have you back. That's what matters. He pulled her close, kissed her deeply, felt her respond with 6 months of loneliness and fear and hope. I love you, he whispered. I love you too. Don't ever leave me again. Never. Not until death. Not even then. She smiled against his mouth. We're forever, remember? Between two worlds, beyond all borders. Nothing breaks us. Lovies, I don't even have words right now. Between two worlds, beyond all borders, this is what we promised you. Tearjerkers, heartbreakers, and game changers that leave you absolutely wrecked. Jin Sang survived. He beat the tumor. He came home to his family. But Kong is still out there in the shadows, and you know this story isn't over. Drop a comment right now telling us where you're watching from and if your heart is still intact after this journey. Are you in Tokyo, Mexico City, Johannesburg, Miami, Lagos? Let us know how far this story has traveled. Share this with someone who needs to feel everything. And if you're not already subscribed, what are you waiting for? Smash that subscribe button because part 5 is coming and the war between Jin Sang and Kong is just beginning. This is Afro-Seoul TV, where we don't just tell stories. We wreck you and put you back together stronger. Thank you for riding with us, lovies. Now let us know, did we deliver? Outside their window, Dallas slept. Their children slept. Their family breathed together under one roof. But in the shadows beyond the compound lights, a figure watched, patient, waiting. Kong Min-jun smiled in the darkness. His son had survived. Good. That made the game more interesting, made the eventual victory sweeter. He had time, all the time in the world. And eventually Jin Sang would learn the truth, that you can't escape your blood, can't outrun your legacy, can't hide from family. Kong turned and walked into the night, already planning his next move. The war wasn't over, it was just beginning. And this time he wouldn't settle for anything less than complete victory. His son, his grandchildren, his legacy, all of it, forever. The game continued.